I'm curious how much of what Trump is doing actually has to do with population decline. So if you think about what happened to Detroit when this is not necessarily population decline. Detroit lost residents because industry had left. But then you see poverty, crime, and other problems start to emerge. I'm wondering how much of what Trump is doing with sending the National Guard is to try and create a foundation of stability, because in the next 10 years, it is going to get increasingly worse with population decline and infrastructure collapse due to a lack of a labor market.
Human capital.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the largest consumer bases, the boomers, are dying. They're now at the mortality cliff. Gen Alpha is tiny, and Gen Z can't work. You saw that report that said Gen Z brings their parents with them to job interviews?
Unreal.
Yeah.
Right. I did see that.
Yeah, Tate brought both his moms.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Both.
you're very hospitable, which I respect. So.
That's really good. Both.
Yeah, so if the expectation is that cities are going to get worse than they are now, I'm wondering if Trump and his admin are looking at this. I mean, I'd have to say that with someone like Stephen Miller, that guy's smart. And he knows with the immigration stuff we're doing, he's looking at demographic numbers. I guarantee you the Trump admin knows full well you cannot simultaneously have low fertility and no immigration. Immigration isn't a solution, by the way. It's a bandit and a bullet wound.
Yep.
And so they're saying we can't keep doing that. They also realize we have a fertility crisis 20 years ago. So I think they're looking at this and there's something they're preparing for. If they're not, we're cooked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the fact that there is going to be such a problem with, like we said, human capital, like that's a really big issue. And if people don't have a positive outlook on not only their communities, but also law enforcement in general, you're going to have significantly fewer police officers. I mean, it's likely, I don't know if it's likely, but I wouldn't be surprised if big cities in the future kind of become those dystopias from sci-fi movies from the 80s where you need to have a really militarized police force actually patrolling the streets and just to keep, the population safe or keep them kind of subdued,
I think 2030 is going to be wild. And for about 5 years, it's going to be nuts in this country.
How so?
So we've got the fourth turning. Strauss-out generational theory. I'm going to throw this is bothering me. You want to rotate that way? Other way.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm just getting my OCD on. Strauss-out generational theory predicts that 2028 is supposed to be the year of the Great Crisis. So as the story goes, every 80 years there's a turning, a fourth turning. So 80 years ago, of course, what did we have?
World War II.
The World Wars. I mean, some people make the argument that they were functionally the same wars because World War II was the result of World War I. Yeah. 80 years before that.
Civil War? No.
Yes. 80 years before that.
Revolutionary War?
Indeed. And actually, you can keep going. Most of us don't track what happened 80 years before the American Revolution because it's pre-American history. It's like colonial history, but there actually was a Great Crisis. And it actually bifurcates into the UK as well because we had a shared culture in society. So the prediction is something is going to happen here. I'm looking at everything that's going on right now. We've got actual fertility right now. Some have estimated, and maybe this is conspiratorial lunacy, 0.3. When you hear that fertility is at 1.6 or whatever, they're including older people who stopped having kids but had kids. So they're asking people, how many kids have you had? How many, and for the fertility rate includes people who are now exiting childbearing years.
So what does the 0.3 include then?
Young people. So you're supposed to, it's supposed to be 20-year-olds, people in their 20s having kids. And there's some estimates that say Gen Z fertility is at like 0.3, and some estimate it may be 0.8. And that makes complete sense if you ask me. But I'll tell you this, there was a really funny meme I saw, and it was a 4chan meme where someone said, hey, my grandpa gave me his PS1. Does anybody have any Anybody have any recommendations for games? The first response is, this has to be rage bait. And they said, my grandfather is 58 years old. He got the PlayStation 1 when he was 28. My dad was 8 years old. My dad had me at 20. I'm 18. But see, the millennials and Gen Z don't have kids. So they're like, no way your grandpa had a PS1. It's like, dude, he's 60.
Right.
Well, the interesting thing with the Gen Z millennials not having kids is it's actually really important when you're looking at TFR. There was a Stephen Shaw, he's like a demographic expert, and he broke down there's actually a difference between total maternity rate and children per mother. So children per mother tracks obviously the average amount of children that a mother has, a mother meaning someone that's had a kid before, and then the total maternal rate. And the TMR's dropped. So like the amount of women that are having children is completely dropped, but the amount of mothers that have had children is consistent. So women are still having 2 to 3 children, but there's not as many mothers. There's fewer mothers.
When you take into account the fact that there's fewer
when
women overall.
Right, but when they decide to have a kid, they still have 2 to 3. So it's not that like they're having less kids overall, if that makes sense. It's that there's just less people deciding
The
to become
crisis
mothers.
is marriage, essentially.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.